Iron-class lifeboat is launched at Teesmouth on the east coast of England. Its mission, another emergency for the Royal National Lifeboat Institution. All around the coast of Britain and Ireland, lifeboats are ready and waiting, more than 250 of them. They're able to put to sea at a moment's notice to rescue those who find themselves in trouble. And the whole thing is paid for by voluntary contributions.
The ambulance is now on its way. Over.
It was that close from drowning.
Nothing at all surprises me about the sea, because it's just so unpredictable.
I was working my trawler down the Bristol Channel, and the rudder gland burst, and she started taking water, and she sank within 5 minutes. And we managed to put a mayday across before we leaped into the water, and the lifeboat was there within a few minutes, you know. Any longer time, I think we would have been drowned, you know.
3 people are rescued every day, over 1,000 each year.
A large ship came ashore at a 97,000-ton oil tanker, and it was driven ashore in a terrible storm. And in fact, if it had kept going, it would have been in the High Street in Redcar, nearly the way it was going. But we had to stand by because they were evacuating the crew. The sad thing was we got knocked over on our side, and unfortunately we suffered a bit of damage. And Hartlepool lifeboat, just before the coast, was also on the service. They were actually turned over twice, and they lost a man overboard. Thankfully, again, the helicopter got the crewman who was in the water, and we had to go out again and escort Hartlepool lifeboat back here.
More and more people are taking up sailing, canoeing and windsurfing. And even though you may think you're well kitted out, you can make mistakes or just be downright unlucky. Fishguard in South Wales. Here there are always lots of boats coming in and out of harbour. It's a busy place, and that's why there's always a lifeboat on standby 24 hours a day for emergencies. It's an Arran-class lifeboat with a crew of 6. They're responsible for getting to the scene of a rescue as fast as possible. But with vast areas of the Irish Sea to cover, they need a faster boat. And that's exactly what the RNLI has decided they should have. This new Trent-class lifeboat, undergoing trials off the Dorset coast. At 25 knots, it's one of the fastest all-weather lifeboats ever built and paid for by the Blue Peter Pieces of 8 appeal. One of the tests it has to pass is the capsize. Blue Peter presenter Tim Vincent joined members of her crew to watch it happen.
So have you ever seen the test before?
No, never. I've seen photographs in magazines and articles in papers of them self-righting, but I've never actually seen it.
Are you the only lady member at Fishguard?
Yes, in fact, the only female on the offshore boats in Wales.
David Hudson is the RNLI designer.
And we're all a little bit tense at this time because it's the first time this sort of thing has happened to this particular boat during its
Right, so
construction.
it's an unknown quantity at the moment. We don't know if it's going to work or not.
It will work, believe me. Yeah.
It's a very important test to make sure the windows don't leak and the capsize valves and capsize engine switches work and keep the water out.
Here we go.
Here we go. Wow.
5.5 seconds, which is the time we predicted.
5.5 seconds?
Yes. Yeah, which is pretty good.
Is that exactly the time you predicted?
Absolutely spot on, yeah.
There's a great way to find out about the work of the lifeboat crews, a club for young people called Stormforce. It's one way of keeping in touch with rescue stories and hearing about the latest adventures at sea. and a way of finding out how the lifeboats work.
Accelerator.
Yeah, that's the throws there. Look, if you lift them up here, you've got your stop.
Are you ever worried about drowning?
Yeah. Normally you don't think about it on the way out to a service.
But when
Once you get back home and you get into your house and you think, sometimes it's quite calm, but sometimes you think, oh dear, that was choppy. Yeah.
You can also join in the fun at fundraising days, one of the many ways the public pay for the lifeboat service. Like all lifeboat stations, the crew here at Tinabruick on the west coast of Scotland are all volunteers. They have normal jobs to earn their living. Willie Fairweather is a farmer and spends most of his time out in the fields.
I joined the lifeboat because I've always had an interest in the sea. I was in the Navy before I started farming. I make it very clear anywhere I am that this lifeboat gets priority over everything. That I go. When my blooper goes, I go.
Hey, don't know. Boat in trouble off 11 point. 2 people in the rubber dinghy, one's supposed to be in the water. The time is now 9:27. You got it? You're in the helm. Willie, you're in radio. Andy, crew, Ian, crew. Okay, let's go. Roy, will you call the Coast Guard in the water? Okay. Flight Coast Guard, this is the on-second to Tinabruick lifeboat here. We'll round ready for launching. We'll give you a shout when we're in the water. Okay, thank you, bye.
Every call-out is treated as an emergency until proved otherwise.
1 foot. Bang. Touched up there. Okay. On you, Andy.
The crew is a close-knit team because they all live locally and know each other well. Helmsman Ronnie Irvine runs a drapery business. There have been Irvines in Tinabruick for over a century.
I've been in the lifeboat service since I was 18. 90% of call-outs in the lifeboat here are through bad luck as much as anything else. I mean, there's the odd one that's ignorance, but most of the time it's bad luck.
It takes a team of 3 or 4 to man their inflatable C-class lifeboat. In fact, there are more than 20 volunteers who take an active role in running the lifeboat, so there are always enough people on hand to get a rescue underway. Fish farmer Graham Smith is also a member of the lifeboat crew.
I joined the lifeboat because I've always been interested in the sea and always been on boats and felt that it was a good thing to do. It can change from being a beautiful day out on the loch here to being very, very strong, rowing, big heavy sea runs up the loch. And October and November can be quite nasty as well. It's wrong to say that you don't get scared, because at times you do get scared in heavy weather. It's not very nice at times.
A helicopter arrives on the scene to join an exercise. All the rescue services, the Coast Guard, RAF, Royal Navy and RNLI have their part to play in rescues at sea. It's their combined efforts which often bring about a happy ending to a very nasty situation. Tinabruick Lifeboat has served the community well. For almost 20 years, it has helped local people and those passing through in the same spirit as those first lifeboats did over 170 years ago. Those first crews relied on muscle power for speed. There were no engines on the boats until 1904, although over recent years there have been huge advances in design and technology which make the boats faster and safer. These three members of the Tinnerbruit crew are about to witness another step in RNLI history, because they're off to Cowes on the Isle of Wight to inspect another new boat, the Atlantic 75. Before they can use it, they have to retrain at the RNLI Inshore Lifeboat Centre. The course lasts 4 days and it starts in the classroom.
Right. OK, Willie, what can you tell us about this one?
That's the lateral map, marking the channels.
OK, fine.
Now we're just going into the engineering department. In this department is where they actually fit the boats out. This is a typical Atlantic 75.
Seeing how the Atlantic 75 is put together makes them feel confident it can do a good job.
These are the inspection covers for the fuel tanks, so you can actually get into the tanks from above the deck. The tanks are situated on foam and surrounded by foam, so they actually float in foam. They're not in contact with the hull in any way whatsoever, so they're not subjected to the same stresses and strains that the hull are subjected to.
The hardest test is the capsize drill.
We're apprehensive, very apprehensive of going over.
One, two, there! Forwards, drop off. Okay, Willie.
Ronnie, Willie and Graham must work together as a team to get her upright again.
Okay.
The 75 rights itself with the help of an airbag mounted on the stern.
And we were just so impressed by it all, that, you know, the way it came up and the way everything just was back in order. You could just literally get back in, start up and carry on as if nothing had happened.
There's that.
That's all right. Not too bad. What do you reckon, Ronnie?
No comparison. An awful lot better. More comfortable for a start. That's just in this wee bit.
Okay, take her up through the revs then now. Take her up faster. Obviously in rough conditions you'd have a quick look at your crew as well, every now and again.
If you're pulling the throttle back to watch the wind direction and wave.
Depending on the speed. Take her right down now. A lot more comfortable than your Devo.
Oh, definitely,
She's got quite a tight turning angle too.
Yeah, oh yeah. You have to hang on sometimes. If it is rough weather, you always want to check the crew. Just have a little look behind and make sure they're still there sometimes.
Time you notice you could be a couple of miles away.
They have every right to be thrilled. The Atlantic 75 will take them to rescues much faster and further offshore. Their old boat has done well and saved many sailors and fishermen from danger. Many a passing yachtsman has good reason to thank the crew, as Ronnie remembers.
There was one just the other day, just down off Carrie Boy, a young girl. She got hit in the head with the boom of a yacht, and she was very badly concussed.
Right, let's come aboard. Up you go, I'll hand up. How is she?
Yeah, but they're just don't move.
Right, we've got a stretcher here. We'll put her on the stretcher and lift her onto the beach.
Don't move her too much. Try not to move her.
Just hurry up.
Just steady. Hold it to her neck, steady.
Okay.
Right, let's lay this down on the foredeck here.
When did it happen?
It must be 20 minutes.
What we'll do is move her onto the stretcher just down there. Hold her really steady. Will you look after her head? Don't let her neck flop around. And we'll lift the weight of her and lay her gently onto the stretcher.
Went into the top.
Yeah, okay. Right, well, I've got her like this.
Chopper will be here in 2 minutes, but there's no way they're going to lift her off this boat today, so we're going to have to transfer her straight to the shore.
Will you hold the head really steady?
Ian, if you get the stretcher ready, just so as it's... That's it. We heard afterwards that time was crucial in that one. And it's just one of these things, you never know when you get the bleeper goes off what you're gonna find.
And that should hold her nice and steady.
If it happened to one of my kids, I would hope there was somebody there to do the same.
Sure she's going to be all right?
Yeah, I'm sure she's going to be all right. She's out cold at the moment. Don't lift her too high. Okay. Mind her head. That's it. Right. How you think?
Yeah. If you get a situation where you save somebody's, or you have helped save somebody's life, it's a good feeling. That's one of the nice ones, we had a nice letter from the girl's family, everything's all right, Unfortunately, not all like that.
Back in Fishguard, the new Trent, Blue Peter 7, is delivered. She'll make the seas off Wales a safer place for sailors, all thanks to the unfailing courage of her crew, who are typical of the hundreds of volunteers around our coast.
We've had nasty nights, nasty days, but when you come in, you forget about it and you just go out on the next one, and it just goes from one to the other, and that is lifeboat work. You don't say you're not frightened, you don't say, yes, I am frightened, it's just, you get used to it.
You just go out and do the best you can, like. That's about...
You just think you're going out to help somebody. That's what's in your mind. In my mind, anyhow.